Hi, everybody, and welcome to our YouTube Crystal Conversations. I'm Bridgette Raitz, the owner of Whispering Stones and Solstice, and I'm here with my guest today, India Leigh. India Leigh is a intuitive reader and a connection coach, and we're talking today about divine feminine and divine masculine. That's quite the buzzword lately, right?
Yeah, and I've just been getting so much in the messages that have come through and readings for people and for myself around those energies within each of us and reflect in relationships. And of course, everybody's at least got the energy of relationship going on around Valentine's Day. It's at least assaulting you, if nothing else. So
you really can't get away from it, can you?
no, it's just an explosion.
There's
yes.
hearts, and there's pink, and there's red, and there's candy, and there's all kinds of great things around this. And there's now Galentine's,
right?
Which I'm hearing about, which just sounds perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of
or
really
you can
good
celebrate
reasons.
with self-love.
I love that.
Just, go crazy with yourself and give yourself all your favorites, and
I like that.
Treat yourself to your favorite dinner, and all of it.
I've been thinking a lot about that. We kind of made February the self-love month here in the store.
Yeah.
Because I think in order to love other people the way you want to, you've got to really start with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of that feminine, Valentine's, well, I was going to say it's odd, but it's not because I'm a Libra, but Valentine's was always my favorite, and I just loved the big red hearts, and I just was always into it, just as an aesthetic and as a treat. And so I think there's no reason not to just enjoy that. Even if you are masculine energy, you can enjoy that for yourself. You can have chocolate.
I do. I just think there's something absolutely marvelous about it. Melanie, who is actually filming us.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. She decorated the store for Valentine's, and literally we both just went, oh. There's just something about it that there's something soothing. To me, it does carry a really feminine energy signature, but I agree with you because I don't think we're, as I'm sure you're going to tell us, we're not all one or the other. We carry both the divine feminine and masculine within us. And so I think it's just a holiday to celebrate the goodness for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when we were talking and choosing these stones for today, we were talking about how really those energies, the masculine and the feminine, they're no longer separate. They are really within us and within the planet, which I kind of like. This
looks like a planet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're melding and they're unifying. And I always look at I've got to stop talking about the younger generation because it really just sounds very aging. Yes, and it's just I should stop. But I'm just going to say we now know that there isn't as much separation between those energies as there used to have to be. It's like as a planet, we went through this kind of pendulum. Those things where it's like the pendulum and it knocks the
little balls to the right and to the left.
And we went through that where it was like the masculine way over here and the feminine way over here, and now it's
very polarized.
Coming back, right? And it's now it's just click, 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 and it will, I'm sure, do different things as we continue to evolve. But right now, what's been happening is this sense of union within ourselves in that feminine and masculine energy. And here's how my guides have been showing it to me. And it's made it so clear because I need things really literal. I don't know if
is it a Libra thing?
It might be a Libra thing.
Balance.
I need it clear and literal. And Spirit has shown me the masculine energy can be looked at as your body and your mind. If you look at your body and your mind, it's solid. It's the real part of you. It's the part of you that's only going to be here as long as you're alive.
Feels tangible.
Right. Mm-hmm. Tangible. It's the part you kind of lean on physically.
Yeah.
It's the part of you that you want to be strong. And, so you can look at that body and mind as your masculine in a way.
Okay.
And then look at your heart and your spirit as your feminine.
Okay.
So when you look at that, there are ways that in the past you might be able to remember when one has rejected the other. Your spirit has been I got to get out of here. This body is not doing it for me. This mind is driving me crazy. Or vice versa. Maybe your body was all right, now I'm going to lay down the law. Now you're going to do this way.
And I'm going to turn off my feelings
because
it needs to be black and white. Bam, bam.
Yep. And or your mind is just it's just this way and there's no room for negotiation and you just have to live with it. So if you look at that within yourself, you might see ways that now you have been supporting yourself more. I know that I, for a long time, was like, body, who needs it? I'm just going to go into spirit and just like, live there. And body was like, oh, really?
Oh, you are?
And where do you think you're going?
I'm the car. You're neglecting the car here?
Yeah. And it took some real back and forth between those energies and me to now, only just now, like maybe the day before yesterday, come to a place where I feel like the body is actually able to harmoniously trust and show up for the spirit and the heart, and vice versa. And the spirit and the heart are able to trust the body and go, yeah, we're safe. We're okay.
We're safe. And we can actually trust that when we have a really horrible headache, or when we, when something slows us down body-wise, maybe it's because everything's working together to say, hey, you need to check in.
Yeah.
Or you're overdoing it, or you're too stressed out, right?
And to lovingly ask into that rather than suddenly going, you always do this and I'm going to, great. Here, have some medicine or what, I guess, and bitterly kind of
dull it out.
Yes. Instead going, oh yeah, you're right. I actually have been going a little hard. Yeah. I do need to rest. Oh, and thank you for taking such good care of me and giving me this time to just come back into myself, and really having that relationship within yourself. It takes a minute, like all things, to show up in relationship with other people, but you will start to notice the other energy in your life reflecting that new harmony that you have. Yes.
So even just syncing the relationship within yourself is going to help you in relationship with other people.
And when I say the other energy, I mean all of it. Meaning, if you're a feminine, if you present as a feminine, you go out in the world and you have this new harmonious relationship with your inner masculine, you're going to see that reflected by that other energy everywhere. Whether it's someone, a masculine energy doing something kind for you, or, maybe you're noticing changes in the relationship with your brother, or, it doesn't have to be romantic. It is going to show up everywhere, and it shows up in the same energy relationships too, where you're like, wow, all of a sudden my girlfriends are more laid back with me, or they don't feel so, like
competitive or slightly, or they're giving me more the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly. And you're like, oh, this is reflecting. And then you'll notice that those relationships that maybe can't shift with that can move into their own energy more gracefully, where you don't have to struggle with them anymore.
Because so they may drift away.
Yeah, because you're not sitting there trying to change it, because what you were really trying to change was inside of you.
So you're just that was the mirror.
Yeah, allowing.
I love that. So do you see this conflict between the masculine and feminine, and maybe some of that easing off happening right now, or do you feel like it's still really kind of in conflict? Because over the past number of years, I mean, it seems like, I don't want to stereotype it, but you see a lot of people saying, well, the feminine is starting to rise. You saw Me Too, but you also see like more women being able to achieve things that maybe in our society they haven't achieved before. They're really starting to come into, you'll hear the words like coming into their own power and those sorts of things. So it feels like over the last couple of years, you've heard a lot about more the divine feminine than you've heard about the divine masculine. Are you seeing any sort of parity between them, or are you just seeing that it's still kind of in a state of flux?
Well, everything with the feminine energy moves gradually, whether it's pregnancy or,
it's not the next day.
Body changing, right, or your wisdom or your heart changing. It always happens gradually, and it always is like this steady climb. The masculine energy, everything happens like zoop, all at once.
It's very linear.
Rocket, right? Yeah, very like, I was here, now I'm here.
Right.
It's very much like, rocket launch, and they're on the moon. So it is happening like that, where the masculine is starting to, people who hold mostly masculine energy or identify with that are starting to do that thing of, what if I allow my heart and my spirit to, what if I trust that part of me more? What if I lean into that? What if I listen to that part of me and open up to it? So what you're going to see is actually a sudden spark of, and I'm getting this actually right now because I haven't really asked into this before. Oh, and is a telltale when my throat starts. Sorry about that mic thing.
Download.
Because the wow, the minute I start talking about that, my throat chakra closes up. Interesting.
It is.
So that's what's going to happen for the masculine, is that they suddenly, so there will be a lag in their ability to express
that what's coming in.
Feeling. That's what it is. That's thank you. So yeah, it will be this sense of, wow, I feel so much more than I can say. And that, so you can just see what I was just showing physically is what the masculine energy is probably currently going through, is I'm starting to feel so much, but I don't know how to express it. And so they will just have to sort of learn.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine on Sunday morning. I ended up having to go to ER for someone, and it was really stressful, and everything was fine. But you know, like for me, I'm driving home, you know, he checks in with me, he's talking to me, and I'm like, I was explaining what had happened, and I'm like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to have a huge cry, because you just feel that energy and the worry and everything build up, and everything's okay. So, you know, then it builds up, and like a volcano goes, right back out. And he said to me, you know, I wish I could cry more. And it was really interesting to hear that come out of someone. And I said, how come you can't? And he's like, well, I don't know. And he's like, it was like this really, it's like someone had asked him a question that he'd never thought about. Like, why can't you cry? And he's like, well, I don't know. I feel like if I did it, it would just really hurt a lot, is what he said. But it was almost like this, well, wow, look at that. But I don't know what to think about that. It was really interesting to kind of see that kind of push, pull. That. I know it was really, I mean, well, it's a good thing we're friends. I mean, so he probably felt comfortable that he could say, you know,
and just being able to say, I don't know, is so powerful. Yeah. Because it opens you up to, well, I don't know. So let me open, rather than just stepping into that, well, I just was taught. Or, well, I just.
Or, I just don't cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's right. There is a pain that the masculine is going to all at once come into contact with, but it is a good pain.
It's a cathartic pain, right?
And it is so much better than the ongoing, you know, suffering of repressing,
stuffing
that pain and stuffing it, diverting and all this stuff.
Or numbing it. I feel like a lot of people numb their pain now, and both male and females, you know, whether it's, you know, whatever your what amethyst, whatever sense your addiction is. I mean, it could be chocolate, it could be shopping, it could be your drug of choice, you know, it could be alcohol or whatever. But I think people do that to avoid feeling things that they don't know what to feel about.
It can even be spiritual stuff.
Well, or spiritual bypassing.
Yeah, you can even use spiritual stuff if you don't want to feel stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, but even that, Spirit's going, not anymore. No, because we're all going to feel what we need to feel. It's true.
Interesting.
The other thing is, we're learning how to find a different kind of romantic energy that's all about safety.
Okay,
it's all about,
talk about that. Yeah. That sounds interesting.
So in the past, you know, we think about love and we think about butterflies, we think about romance, and we think about zing, and you need to feel this passion.
Spark.
And there's nothing wrong with those things. They're wonderful to experience, but they're not the best metal detector for finding
long-term, right?
Long-term, safe and growth supporting love.
So they can burn out.
They can burn out. They can come back. It can do all of that stuff.
But it's not the predictor for long-term success in relationship.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, newsflash! If I want to find an energy that's safe, if I want that energy reflected to me that I'm safe with within me, I'm going to have to kind of look past those feelings and sensations and all that, ride them out, just like we do within ourselves. When we feel a fear or whatever, craving, an addiction, whatever it is, we ride that out to get to the safe spot within us, to get to, and I mean safe not from fear, but safe, connected, you know, with Spirit.
Feeling protected and feeling safe to align and be yourself,
yes, exactly. Express fully, not have to only show parts of you, because in that zingy connection, you're only presenting the parts of you that will support that zing.
You're only in the wands of tarot, right?
And you're taking everything else and kind of putting it away.
All the cups are over there, all the pentacles that way.
Oh yeah,
ignoring the swords entirely.
Yes. So this is about letting everything come out and saying, and even the little inner child, and saying, I want all of this to be safe in the connection I'm in.
Right.
And that may not be super sexy all the time, but it is
like super sexy all the time.
And it's a new kind of sexy.
Yeah, it is.
Spiritual safety, which is the new sexy, I guess. You heard it here.
You heard it. She's coined it. It's already started.
Spirit, but you heard it here. Yes.
So that's a really interesting thing. So that may impact like how people look for friends and coworkers and partners, because I mean, that's a different type of a relationship, but it's very prevalent in your life. Maybe even spend more time with those people.
Yeah. And it's important to say too, this is not an audition where it's like, are you safe? Are you safe? This is who am I allowing myself? I'm just trusting my intuition. If I feel safe to be fully representing myself with you, that's a reflection of me and my ability to sense an energy match. In the past, if I was putting myself in situations where I was pairing with people who didn't ultimately feel safe, who were exhibiting that like mistrust or jealousy, whatever, that was me doing that. It was me going, that's the kind of energy I want to be around, so that subconsciously I can learn more about that part of me that wants to kind of stab myself in the back.
More the shadow side.
Yeah.
You're still doing a lot of shadow work.
Right. And then when you get to know that part of you, you're like,
maybe not that. Okay. Hello.
I know you. And how about,
how about a different part? Or how about we learn that lesson and recognize it?
Yeah. And what do I want to learn about myself next?
Yes.
Like, what part of myself might I have not explored now yet?
I like that.
That I want to. And let's start drawing those people in.
So if we are becoming more in balance within ourselves in the masculine and the feminine, we're going to be more comfortable, I'm assuming, to be authentic wherever we are, because it's maybe like two pillars to stand on. Yeah. You know, so you might be your own little business badass, but you might be an incredible nurturer somewhere else. Or maybe it's all combined all the time.
And just letting it be whatever it is. Feeling into your own when it needs to be adjusted,
and just being authentically who we are. All right, so we got to talk about your cards.
Oh, yay.
So I love, India did, you know, we play off each other, and she'll say, oh, you're getting to do that. I always want to do that. And then she designed her own oracle deck, which is just like the bomb. So tell me about how fun it is to see this right now, because we're actually, Melanie's panning your cards. I just love these. I think they're so spot on. And they just so quickly and organically portray what I think you're trying to say. But what I really love is the guidebook. I have to say, I love the cards, but I really love it paired with the guidebook, because you give us things to do in there after you get the card. So instead of just looking up and going, well, I got the inner knowing card, well, I guess that sort of means this, and I read a description, it actually gives me something to sink my teeth in. So tell me why you did that.
Oh my gosh. Well, it was just completely guided to do it, but also because that's what I need. You know, I'm a practical person at heart, even though I got a lot of Libra fluff, and I have a Capricorn moon. So that Capricorn moon does need those tools of like, okay, what do I do with this? Make it make sense. So yeah, I needed for me to have like, now that you have this guidance, here's what to do with it. So I had to include lots of that. But the best thing about being the vessel that the deck was created through is experiencing people connecting with it, because then they are developing a relationship that it's like when you have a child, and it's like now you get to see them in the world, like building their own life. And that's sort of what this deck is doing. It's like just finding its people and making its connections, and it doesn't feel like it's really it just feels like it belongs to
everyone
instead. And so that's
kind of what we feel about when we send stones out there.
I bet.
You know, we'll find something. Melanie and I, or Maya, or some of us will be at a stone show, and we'll, like, say, for example, fall in love with this. This is a Hewlandite, Stilbite, Scolasite mix from India, and it's just got this dreamy, divine, complete energy. It really does remind me of a perfect match between masculine and feminine. It's just like this great melding. We'll find it, and we'll be so excited about it. We'll get it home. We'll clean it. We'll number it. We'll wait. We'll just play with it like a baby. And then eventually somebody will snag it, and it's like it was intended from whomever it was all along. And we were just kind of the birth. We were delaying it
Mm-hmm.
all the way over. We're the conduit to get it to them. And that's what it feels like with your deck because, right?
And isn't it amazing how so many worthwhile things feel like that, whether it's parenthood or what we're talking about with channeling these things.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of conditioned and taught that the satisfaction is going to come in the product, or going to come from the having, or going to come from what you get.
The end result.
The end result.
You got to get to A to B.
Or come from
Very
people
linear.
focusing on you, or whatever it is. But really, the real fulfillment, like we're talking about with that safe energy and that love, is in the...
It's in the birthing, in the journey.
Experiencing that energy coming through you.
Yeah.
And I know it just sounds so cliche, but it's so true.
But sometimes it's even just in the idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we've been playing with these soap and crystal kits that we developed. Well, you're the one who gave me the soap to begin with, and I fell in love with it, got in touch with the maker, and then we paired soap and crystals in this kit that's perfect for gifting.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I think sometimes the idea and birthing the idea, and you and I were talking about packaging and making everything pretty and all that sort of merchandising stuff. Yeah. I think sometimes the spark of the idea, which it must have felt for you with these cards, and then all the way through doing the product, sometimes I think that's where I get some of the most satisfaction and fun.
Yes. Yes. It is like playing with this finger paints and just the process of it itself. But that is something, I don't know, it's something that when you're not actively in that flow, it can almost be frustrating to hear that. It's like hearing it's about the journey, not the destination.
And you're like, oh, stop it.
Got your destination for you.
Yeah, you take the destination.
But it really is. And it's just,
there's something magical about it.
In flow.
So any couple of tips to give whoever's listening to this crystal conversation, whenever they're listening to it, the best way to start aligning and supporting your divine masculine and feminine within you into some sort of a very happy balance? How do we do it?
So the first thing to pay attention to is going to be your body always, because your body is going to let you know what your energy is doing. If you're feeling physically balanced and pretty good, keep playing with that. Keep going with that. You're doing something right. If you're feeling, just, I got tightness over here, don't ignore it. Ask into that. Use that as your first indicator of that balance of those energies. And then the other thing to really tune into is, what are your current relationships showing you? If you were to look at them without trying to kind of change or sway them or make them do one thing or the other, what are they actually reflecting to you? And really paying attention to that. Who's showing up for you today? And even if it's kind of feels unpleasant or challenging, what is that showing me that I might need to deal with? What is this person bringing me? Paying attention to those two things and your thoughts, because, man, sometimes, I love, like I said, spiritual stuff and podcasts and like that. And sometimes I will find myself just absolutely tripping out, mentally. And it's like, hello, can we just...
Like, there's cars out there, I'm driving past them.
Just get still. So you can kind of trick yourself into thinking, well, I am doing, so just sort of pay attention to what are your thoughts. If I'm letting things be put in my mind all day and I'm not even having an original thought, that might be something to look at,
Yeah.
So just, that happens.
Okay, Melanie starts smirking over there.
Just like, So thoughts, body, relationship, feelings, of course, but no, I'm just kidding. Pay attention to your feelings.
I actually really, for the longest time, I used to think feelings, I'm just upset about this or that or whatever. But I really do. The more you clue in on those, just like cluing in on weird things that your body's trying to either slow you down or point out, I think the more clues, it's really interesting to me how spirit uses like every little bit of everything to try to help us see a really great direction.
Yeah, and we all just have our natural leanings, It's like when you say, I don't like to cook, I don't like all the mess. It's like, some people love that. They love to immerse in it. And so it's just acknowledging, like, this is a personal preference of mine. And that's fine. It just means I need to kind of pay even more attention. That's a tip off to me. Hey, all the other things could feel imbalanced, but you need to ask yourself how you're actually feeling today, and like really check in. And the shortcut to that is your inner child or any child in the vicinity, because children are the best mirrors for what we're actually feeling.
They're good barometers.
They're always going to know, even if they're not your child, they're just going to show you
what's going on. So the one that throws down and does the giant tantrum on the floor right in front of me.
What is my little inner child feeling?
My inner child's like, yeah, I'm doing that.
That's what I feel.
That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Mine's always the quiet one in the corner who's like got the big eyes and looks like they're going to cry any minute. That's me.
That's you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I sent something to Melanie the other day. You know I'm going to talk about the egg, right? And it was on Instagram, and it was this, I don't know who the people that did this, but it was rather amusing. And they were like, no, she's shaking her head, no, it wasn't. Such a good Taurus. But the toddler, and it was like this egg, and like, so people were smacking little like eggs and cracking them on people's foreheads. Oh, yeah. And so Aries is, of course, looks up and then just smacks. There's me.
Like you would just smack
Taurus just sits there and looks at Taurus and Libra, I think, sat there and just looked bewildered.
That's what I would be like, why?
I mean, Capricorn looks at him like, I see what you did. I'm going to get even later.
I won't forget.
Leo is like, takes this whole bucket of flour and just flings it at him. I mean, he just went on, and it was so amusing. I've also seen it done without the egg. I'll send you one of those, Mel. But it was super interesting just to see the natural reaction we have.
And knowing that there is no wrong with that. With the feelings, there is no wrong. You know, it's not like there's a correct way to feel your emotions.
So I'm okay to throw the egg.
You are okay.
I wouldn't throw that. But still, I mean, it was super interesting. All right. Well, this has been so interesting. If you guys are interested in India's cards, the best way to get them is at IndiaLeigh.com, right?
Yeah, thank you.
And she's got some fabulous merchandise. Go check it out. I get to wear it all the time. I love it. So yeah, guys, come check this out. It's great fun. She's also available for readings all over the world, but especially at solstice.love. So book with her at IndiaLeigh.com and come visit us, because then we'll both get to see you.
Check out this. Ask Bridgette about the soaps, because they're just
the soaps are so cool.
I mean,
we're just going to end up with all of them. If they don't
sell,
it's just going to be ours.
I just love the soaps.
They're awesome. Anyway, y'all have a great day, and thanks for hanging out with us today, and have a great Valentine's.